Hi, welcome to Majoring in the Middle. We're talking to my principal, Bethany Medford today. We're at Crier Intermediate School, and it's that time of year where our students are getting ready to pick their courses for Pete Junior High, and it's exciting times. Dr. Medford, you are a mom of junior high girls, so I bet you have lots of advice for us for current sixth graders heading to the junior high. What could you share?
I feel like, having two eighth graders gives me a little bit of credit here on a little bit of perspective of what's to come. But I think the biggest thing is figuring out what your kids are interested in and knowing that it's okay if they don't know. Going into it, looking at what interests you. If it doesn't, let's try something new. Looking at courses, pushing your kids to kind of out of their comfort zone with some of the pre-AP classes, but also realizing what's the right choice for your kiddo and knowing your kid best.
This is the time where we try things. So we had some questions from current sixth graders here at Crier Intermediate, and so a few of them wrote to me and asked, how do I know which level of courses I would take? So you mentioned that. Can we talk about that a little bit more?
I think the biggest thing is to look at what do you like? Like what class are you excited to go to? What class do you feel like you achieve highly in? And those are the classes that I would look at taking a pre-AP class. The one that's a little bit different is math. So I would get with your math teacher and have that conversation. The kiddos could also obviously ask you or I to help them with those things. But I think jumping out there, if you're unsure, pick one, right? Do you really love to read? Then try pre-AP language arts. If you're really into history and that's really interesting to you, try pre-AP history. But I think it's a great idea to kind of push yourself a little bit and into something that interests you and kind of, you don't know until you try.
Right. Okay, so another question we got was, there are some classes that I'm not familiar with. So they're talking about their electives, and they do get a lot more choices going over to Pete. And so they want to know, how can we find out more about those classes?
I think this is the most exciting part about junior high is there's so many choices. They get so many different options to pick from, things that they've never heard of, things that we don't offer here. And so I think that's exciting. That's my favorite part about junior high. So they have an elective night at Pete, February 25th, that they can go over, and all of those teachers are out and they have different items from their class to kind of show off so that they can get a better glimpse. So I think that's a huge night to go to because there's so many things that the words on the paper are really hard to describe, but getting to see the teacher and see some of the activities they get to do really excite the kids.
Yes, and also going in the building, because that really makes a big difference. Like, this is my new school, so that's really exciting. It's
beautiful, so it's big.
It is. Okay, so our next question is, do I have to have PE? So I know they have sports, and that is huge for some of our kiddos. So.
I feel like that's the question I get asked the most in the hallway is what sports can I play? So the answer is yes, you have to take PE, but right, because the athletics class does count. There are some other options. I know they have a cheerleading class that counts, the dancing class that counts. So do you have to have some kind of physical activity class in junior high? You do in 7th grade. But there's some options. So again, that's why I recommend going to that elective night so you can ask those questions to see what are your options and what do you love to do and what's exciting.
And they will need to have a physical in advance, and so
that part is probably one of the biggest pieces that we get lots of questions. And the great news is that our kiddos get bused over to Pete and can get that taken care of during the school day. So when we get that date, we'll be sending home information to parents, and they just fill out the physical form. We bus them to Pete, and there's doctors there that go through that and take care of that all on site.
Easy peasy.
Yes, they don't have not another doctor's appointment unless they choose. Obviously, you can choose to go to your own doctor, but we try to make that easier because you have to have that for everything. Band, any kind of extracurricular activity, you're gonna have to have a physical.
Well, okay, and we had a few students who are anticipating trying out for drill team, for dancing dolls, and for cheerleading, or I know there are athletes out there wanting to try out for those sports. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process?
So I think the two biggest pieces are cheerleading and dancing, because that you actually try out during your 6th grade year. So that's coming up around spring break. You will try out for cheer and try out for dancing dolls, whereas all the sports, they don't do any of that until they start school next year in the fall. So listening to announcements here at Crier, we'll be announcing that. We have information in the front office. It's obviously on the websites, and staying on top of those meeting dates, because there's a lot of parent meeting dates that are required for our kiddos. And so making sure they're taking care of that and know that it's coming soon, I think is a big piece for those kids so they don't miss it out.
It will sneak up on you. Okay, and then this one kind of made me giggle a little bit. I've heard you have to have a shot before you go to Pete, and surely that's not true, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Surely. So I will say a lot of kids do have to have a shot. Now, obviously, every kid is different, and everybody's pediatrician and doctors and parents have different phases that they're in with their shots, but I will say a lot of students do have to have a shot before going into 7th grade. But we will send home lots of information if you are one of those kiddos, and your families can talk about that, but I think that is the thing.
Oh. And Pete is huge. I'm worried about getting lost. How will I know my way around?
It is big. It's a beautiful, big campus, but lots of friendly faces that are willing to help, and they have this awesome thing called Cub Express right before school starts where they have lots of maps and you get to walk your schedule, and I recommend doing that, letting your kiddo find all their classes, then walk it forwards, walk it backwards. I know one of my girls mapped it out and colored, Sharpie, and she had the plan and knew what stairs, and so I think just being in the building as many times as you can is what's going to make them feel more comfortable.
When is our deadline for selecting courses, and how are we going to do that?
So everything's done online these days, right? So everything they will do will be selected online. The counselors from Pete will come over and talk to the kiddos along with the principal, give them a pep talk, kind of to walk them through it, but it's all done online in their student access account, and it's due by March 4th. And it's super important to take your time, especially picking those electives, because once those are set, they're kind of set, and so you want to make sure that you're ranking them in the order that you want. So taking your time to do that and doing it by the deadline is huge.
Yes, and I know the 5th grade counselor, Miss Spikes, and I will be going through the classes, and so we're going to work on getting some Chromebooks out there and helping them knock that out. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today, and I am so excited about our Crier Cats getting to go over and moving on. We're going to miss them. They're a great group of kids,
Absolutely, yes.
So, but all right, well, I appreciate it.
Thank you.